do this.
All right. Get all that piss and vinegar out of me.
How's your ankle, mate?
Oh, look, it's getting there. It's getting there. It was a bit tricky walking up your driveway, actually.
It's a steep driveway.
Because it's the where the problem is actually on the...
So it's my fault.
Yeah. It's your fault for living in Pakenham.
Okay.
With a steep driveway.
Okay, fair
Your
enough.
old place, flat.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
I'm sorry.
Although there were stairs. So,
Yeah, that is
6
true.
of one, half a dozen of the other, really.
This is our second to last show of the year, Ben.
Fucking hell, I'm pumped. I was waiting for you to say it when you just left that pause in there. I was like, am I supposed to say it?
I'm pumped. I am really pumped. Are you all pumped? Welcome to Good
You
Movie.
shouldn't give me the show notes.
Welcome to Good Movie Monday, the weekly podcast dedicated to nerdy cinematic ramblings. I'm Glenn Cochran. Sitting beside me is Ben Howig, here to pump hard. Why don't you pump some of that social media stuff into people while we're at it?
Well, why don't... If you want to see us on social media, head on over to the Good Movie Monday website. That's goodmoviemonday.com. And you'll find all our social medias there.
That's it.
That's it. We've got all of them.
You pump fast.
I do pump chump, as they say.
As I said, this is our second to last show of the year, which means that next week is our big all-in Christmas finale party, whatever you want to call it. Everybody that's involved on the show is going to be here. The whole gang for a massive video version. We do this every single year where we do 2 shows every year that are video all the way through. So this is the one I'm most excited about. Takes a lot of work and prepping, to go towards it. But
is anyone coming live to the desk?
No.
No.
I mean, I don't even really want you here at the desk for it, to be honest with you.
Oh, that works for me.
Simply because it's so much easier to edit when we're all on a single screen, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it means that you and I will be much smaller on the screen if we're in a big grid.
How can I take over the conversation with weird tangents if... No, that's fine.
You still can, and you will.
I just... Because you don't know when someone else puts you on mute. So I could just be talking away. You could have put me on mute for the whole conversation and be like, what's Ben doing?
I promise I won't mute you. You have my word. But as for this week, it's business as usual. Jarrett Gunn is going to come up in a moment to talk about this week's physical media. Obviously, the last of his regular formatted segments for the year. It's going to be a fun one. The Boneheads from Kentucky are going to come up and take over the mic for a few minutes. And, I think they're talking about fictional authors in movies.
Oh, like Sutter Kane and...
That may be the one they talk about the most.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
I
don't know. Of course, I don't know.
I don't know. That's just the only one I can think of.
Yeah, that was pretty much the case for them as well.
Do you read Sutter Kane, Glenn?
That's Joe's line.
Is it?
Yeah. Also, terrific TV Tuesday. We've got that coming up. A couple of songs recommendations, all the usual business, and of course, Ben.
Kick off your shoes, pull off your socks, put on your loafers, let's get real comfy, because it's time for Glenn and Ben.
Mainly Ben,
Talk about home or Christmas movie.
'cause it's their show, and they'll do it if they want to.
Oh, that's it. That's it. So you may have seen our Lips movie, and we were talking through that. We've heard it 100 times. I hope you enjoyed it.
I've got to say, look, I really love the application that lets us create those little intros and stuff. I just wish that I had. I suppose I could if I really cared enough. I could put it into my own music editing program and actually end the clips properly rather than just this. Because it does actually ask you when you do it.
I know.
How far into the song do
Yeah.
you want your 30-second bit to be?
I could have faded that down. I could have.
You just
I like that cut.
just like the hard cut.
It lets me go, and that's it.
But yeah, look, I don't expect you to do any editing on these things. I should have done it before I sent it to you.
No, but like a good editor likes everything raw. We're raw doggers, man. So you give it to me raw, and then it's up to me to whittle it into the show. I could have faded it down. In fact, now that we're talking, I still haven't edited the show, and I
So-
could
so
still
you
fade it
could.
down. But now that I've committed to that whole line, I
Yeah.
can't.
It'd be really weird if it
If it
wasn't.
faded down and I talked about, I could fade it down.
Yeah, it could.
See?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Hallmark
like-
Christmas movies. Let's talk about those.
I watched two bangers this
So
week.
clearly, you haven't lived up to the promise of the segment,
Well,
unless you intend to intend to watch another 30 by the end of the.
It's not the end of the year. I've watched like
You've got 1 week,
many, I
mate.
think.
1 week left.
No, because the movies go up to. There's Christmas Eve is when the last movie drops.
But the show only goes.
Oh, the
so
show.
far.
I didn't. Well, I have no control over Hallmark's schedule. They are dropping movies up until Christmas Eve. So there are movies way past.
Are you
the
saying
end
we're
of the
coming
show.
in for a summer series recap of Hallmark?
God no. Because look, there's no way it's going to happen.
Mm.
There's a there's a finite amount of time that anyone really should put in. I really like that show Salvage Hunters on Channel 9 about the Welsh guy who goes around and buying antiques and stuff.
Mm.
And there's a couple of these kind of shows. If you watch, these are kind of meant to be watched a night apart. But every now and then, they'll for some reason I'll do a marathon. And if you watch too many of them in a row, you get to see, you repeated that. You've done this before. This is the same.
You see the formula.
You get to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it has started to happen. I actually honestly think that Hallmark have gone too far. They've done too many, and the quality control.
Hallmark, you've gone too far, damn it.
The quality control of some of the stories is getting a bit weak.
Well, you know what? I can't hang much shit on you
Right.
because that massive Danielle Steele box set I bought way back. I've only watched 1 movie from it.
Yeah,
So,
but I did watch two movies. A novel Noel with Julie Gonzalo from Veronica Mars. And
Yep.
it's a pretty decent film. But I would have to say this is probably the one with the least chemistry between the leads. And she's a book publisher who needs to take a holiday after a massive success, but she wins this kind of 5 years prior. She put her name down to win this thing where you go to this small town and help run a bookshop
it's always a bookshop.
for a month.
It's always a bookshop.
Well, especially in one that's called a novel Noel. That's the pun.
Hallmark is a publisher, so it makes
Yeah.
sense.
I thought they just made greeting cards.
Oh, it's a small book, isn't it?
Yeah,
2-pager.
it's a pithy no. It's a
If you were to buy a box full of cards, you've got yourself a book.
That is true. A poetry book. But yeah, look. So she goes and runs this bookshop and helps. Whatever. It's fine. It was fine.
Highly recommended.
The next one I watched, which is Trivia at St. Nick's, which is
Love that title.
thoroughly entertaining, and it stars the wife of a friend of the show, Tammin Sursok. And in her, I want to say Christmas 2024 debut. I don't think she's been in another. I don't think she's in another Christmas movie this year. About all these people, they work at a university, and there is in American universities when people they move away from home and they live on campus or near campus. But at Christmas time, everyone goes home. But there is a
I was looking it
certain
up
amount
on-
of people, like the holdovers,
Yep.
who stick around for Christmas. And every year at this university, in the local pub, they have a trivia thing, and Tammin takes her trivia seriously.
Oh my goodness.
And but the thing that's
it
kind of
is.
ridiculous is that all her family live in this town. She's not really away from her family at
Gotcha.
Christmas because her sister's there, her brother-in-law, her mother. They're all there, but basically they participate in a Christmas trivia kind of competition at the pub that takes place over seemingly a week, or multiple nights of trivia.
Just looking it up now. I went to Wikipedia and it doesn't have a clickable link to it, so I had to go back to
Yeah.
IMDb.
But it is a lot of fun, and the trivia they do you the favor of not asking you a lot. Like they ask you some of the trivia questions, and look, I play a lot of Tipping Point and Pointless and all those trivia shows because I'm a sad, lonely man. I would not do well in this Christmas trivia, even though they only ask you a fraction of the questions that actually.
Is this correct? I'm reading the trivia on this movie. is one of the categories in the trivia Hallmark Christmas
It
movies.
certainly is. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is, and that is possibly the best part of the whole film. Is that little part,
That
that
is-
little in-joke.
Amazing self-promotion right there.
Yeah.
Cool. There
So
we go.
Those are the two. Those are the two I watched this year. I actually printed up the Hallmark sheet and I've ticked off.
Oh, nice.
I got pretty close.
Yeah,
Like
cool. I'm impressed. I'm
Like
impressed.
you know,
I'm just
I
giving
haven't
you shit.
completed November yet, and we're in December, so I'm a bit behind.
Hey, can I tell you a story before we move on?
Tell away.
All right, something happened to me last week. I went to a media screening, and it was
film?
for the movie September 5, which is that Munich.
I really
yeah,
want to fucking see
Great
this.
movie. Really loved it. It's all set in the control booth. It's all about the Munich Olympic terrorist attack.
When is it actually coming out? Is
Not
it out?
not until next year. So it was an advanced
okay, so
screening. I
really
think it's second week of.
It's
It might be February, but anyway, it's next year.
it's so remarkable. Like we go to a lot of these screenings,
Yeah.
and usually, and I always think it's a sign of the distributor's faith in the film.
Yeah.
The screening is the day before
Yeah.
the release, and they're embargoed.
Well,
Your reviews are
Yeah.
embargoed until the day.
Yes. so a
so
little
it's
look
rare.
a little look behind the curtain when they do these media screenings. A good sign is always a long lead when you get like months in advance. You get to see it. An ominous sign is the day before release, and you're not allowed to talk about it until the morning. But also, I think now they combine media screenings with like competition winners and stuff. So that's kind of why that happens. But anyway, I'm in this screening, little private cinema in Melbourne. You've been there, the back lot, and there's only 3 of us in the whole cinema. All right.
So it was practically full.
No, just
No.
the important people, right?
Yeah.
So, front row, we've got somebody I know who works for a reputable outlet, and I'm like, okay, well, he's here. Another guy walks in, sits right in front of me, right? And I'm like, I recognise that guy. Who is he? I'm thinking, there's only 3 of us, so it's somebody from a major outlet. I'm like, I reckon that is Carl Quinn, right? And Carl Quinn is a writer for The Age and a few other outlets. He freelances elsewhere. I'm like, but he looks a bit different. He's got big buffy hair, right? I'm like, I'm pretty sure he has short hair. So what I do is I go to Instagram. Like, let's just pull up his account and have a look. And you know how you get on Instagram, you got a grid of photos? There's a photo there with his face, and I'm like, yeah, I reckon that's him. So I click it, but it was a video, and my audio was up. And the video goes, hey, I'm Carl Quinn. Welcome to the Cleverest Podcast. I'm like, oh my God. And you know, when that kind of shit happens, you fumble and you can't close it, and it's fucking,
Yeah.
and you're just sweating bullets in that moment. He turns around. He goes, I think that was my voice. And I just looked at him and I went, just checking. I could have died. And then for the first 15 minutes of that fucking movie, that's all I could think about is, oh my God, what just happened?
That's like when you go back and Google stalk like the girl you had a crush on in high school and accidentally like one of her photos from like 6 months ago, so she knows that you've been going through the feed.
Oh man, yes, and it was that, but like yeah, because I used to listen to the Clappers podcast, the one that came up evidently. God damn it, could have crawled under my seat right there and there. So I thought I'd share that with everybody. And if Carl, if you're listening, that's what I was doing. Just trying to figure out if that was you.
Amazing.